podcast where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with Kate. I'm joined by my regular co-hosts, Mr.
Ben Errington.
And Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, guys, everybody.
How we
Here
doing?
they are.
Yeah, really good, thanks. It's been a while since I saw you, hasn't it?
No, that's not true, because we spent an entire weekend together.
Yay!
which is cool. I think it's the first time we've all been in the same bed together.
Sorry, guys,
Bathtub.
I did absolutely fuck it with that booking. Just one giant bed like Charlie Bucket's grandparents.
And a giant bath. We've all got to get into it. Horror hangout soup.
Yeah, what a time. No, it was very good. And what a lovely weekend as well. Like horror chat, nice bit of comic convention as well. Sold some books, got some new listeners.
Yeah. So people
Yeah.
are aware we didn't go for a holiday. It was a convention and a holiday. And it was really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
We went to Thought Bubble in Harrogate in the UK, which was delightful. It was wonderful. Great to be back out there in the big wide world. Harrogate's pretty posh, you know. I felt a little bit out of place. I felt like someone's going to come and grab me and go, hang on a minute. You ain't allowed round these neck of the woods. Get out of it.
Policemen getting us to turn our pockets out. But no, it was very nice.
One of the locals pointed at me and went, proletariat. And then, you know, in a Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Just doing a horrible like wail.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of dinner with Mr. John Crinnan as well.
Unwilling Patreon, John Crinnan. We got him in.
Unwilling Patreon and regular guest on the show. And current quiz champion? I say that with a question mark.
Current quiz champion, yeah.
Current quiz co-champion. The dirty cheating. No,
John
and
and
of course not.
John and Zoe were the champs last time round.
Champs? Oh, champs. Okay, I got you.
It was a Resident Evil question, but in Ben's defense, he had two bottles of red wine.
In Ben's defense, he fucked it. I mean, there's no way of defending it. That was almost a year ago, so.
Yeah. How many Resident Evil things are there? Median. All the media. 5? No. Ben.
About 3, innit? About 3. I thought it was a trick question. I thought you were going to go, well, actually, no. I thought I was one step ahead of you. I was at least 19 behind.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's okay, though. There'll be time to... Perhaps we'll do one for the end of the year. Things quieten down a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll do something between that Christmas, New Year period. Yeah. We'll get some challenges on.
Yeah, we'll put the challenge out there. Even though I tend to do that every time there's a guest, so we've got a queue going around the block for people who want to challenge us now. I'm sure. Nobody probably remembers. Right. Anything horror news related that we need to discuss? I suppose.
I don't know. It's been a bit of a weird week because it feels like we only just got back, and. Has anything happened since the Spider-Man trailers come out? But that's not really horror news, although
no. So the couple of bits I've got here to discuss are that the concept art and logo for the Predator prequel, which is called Prey, came out. I think we were all together when this news dropped, and I think we had a little bit of a discussion about it then. Okay, but we'll recreate that now. It's called Prey. It was formerly called Skull, wasn't it, or Skulls? Well, then Predator Prey. So it takes place 300 years in the past. A Comanche woman goes against gender norms and traditions to become a warrior, and probably goes.
Is it Predator versus
Mulan, mate? Everyone thinks she's a man because her hair's tied up, which always gets me. I'll be honest. Every time I see a woman,
she's not got a bow. She's not got a bow and slightly longer eyelashes. You're well confused.
Every time I see a woman with the. I'm trying to say something about sounding like a horrible twat. Every time I see a woman with a ponytail, I'll go, "Whoa, did you watch the bloody football last night?" Oh, well, women watch football too. Don't be silly.
So, are you a warrior of some kind in an olden days society? I'm not. But yeah,
am I socially attracted?
You should die.
So I think they're talking about tone is more akin to The Revenant than anything in the Predator canon, apparently.
Do you want to watch a 3-hour grueling drama in which the woman gets mauled by a bear And then there's a predator at the end.
And then there's
is it the predator that leaves her in the woods for dead?
Basically, it's going to be the movie The Revenant, and then just at the end, just as it's panning up, we'll just see the little flicker as the predator he was there all along, invisible.
Although, in many ways, maybe it could actually be cheaper to make than The Revenant because I don't think they're going to have such expensive actors in it, and you could make the bear invisible. So some poor woman gets chomped up by an invisible bear, and then it smashes him with a log or something towards the end.
Act like you're being mauled by an invisible predator. Go on, do it.
That must have been what Leo did, though, right? A real bear. A real bear attacked him.
It was Sean Gunn in a green Zorb suit, whatever they call it.
A green bear suit, chomping him up.
What are we trying to say? It wasn't Andy Serkis? I'm not sure I believe
it's always Sean Gunn now.
And Andy Serkis is the apes. Whenever there's an ape, that's him.
Yeah.
Sean Gunn is other mammals.
Other mammals, hairy mammals,
and
cuddly
Doug,
mammals.
Doug Jones, if they're a lizard or fishman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who plays CGI bird people. Maybe Maybe there's a niche for that.
Doug Jones definitely does some bits in this film, right? Surely there's a lot of Doug Jones bodies knocking about.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah.
If you need a big and tall man.
I've just had a little look. It looks like he does. Looks like he plays two of them, two of the spooky specters. So yeah, looking forward to. I mean, that sounds like an interesting concept for a movie. I'd definitely watch that, wouldn't you?
Predator. I think it'd be better than what was the last one? Predators.
The Predator. It sounds kind of similar to The Predator. Oh, yeah. Sorry, it sounds kind of similar to Predators. Because I know it was like modern day people, but they were in a sort of environment. I know they're on another planet, but they were in a
space jungle, weren't they? Falling out the sky.
Yeah. Bloody space jungle, and there's bloody space dogs running around.
And had Adrian Brody is
the main guy, and Topher Grace.
Topher Grace, yeah.
But yeah, I'll go and see another Predator thing. I think I'm still interested enough. I mean, I'm of course incredibly invested in seeing what they're doing with that Predator Iron Man suit, but maybe we'll never see that.
I never want to see that again.
Probably never going to see that now.
Yeah.
Another bit of news is that there's possibly going to be a Pumpkinhead remake. Don't know if you saw this knocking about. Apparently there's loads of weird words in this headline. Paramount players conjuring a remake of Stan Winston's classic. Now,
hang on, let's unpick that. So Paramount, the company, players.
Does it mean Paramount Robin Plus? Does it mean Paramount Plus? Like the possibly. Like their Netflix.
Conjuring just makes people think
services. Come on.
Conjuring just makes people think of The Conjuring, which is confusing. But also a remake of Stan. Are we calling Pumpkinhead a classic? I don't know. How did we find it when we reviewed it?
Do they define classic as just a movie that's old? Though
I think possibly, yeah.
That's an absolute classic.
I liked it well enough. Everyone was very hot and sweaty in it. That's what I remember. And there were some fun moments. I think a modern remake might give them some more ability to do more with the creature, because the Pumpkinhead creature was very well designed. And I like what they did with it when it was static. But then in action, of course, the actual kills with Pumpkinhead, it mostly just dashed people into rocks, right? Give them a throw-in.
Don't make...
Tossed them off.
It just tossed them off, mate, and they didn't seem to enjoy it. Don't make it a big old CGI beast like a leggy Venom or something, because
I've got enough leggy Venoms in my life.
Pretty sure that's where they're going to go with it. Maybe. I doubt they go too practical. Half and half. I'd take a half and half, like a semi-skimmed milk.
Semi-skimmed
Pumpkinhead, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Pumpkinhead spice latte.
They're half and half in this, aren't they? The ghosties. They're at least semi-skimmed.
It's a strawberry flavour one. They're all different flavours.
What's the green one? Lime.
Like Halloween themed spooky, like Nesquik, like Scream eggs.
It's not really a flavour. It's mainly food colouring.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
They all taste identical.
Yeah, come on. Don't mug yourself off. And apart from that, I also saw that Alien Isolation's being released as a mobile game on Android and iOS, which I was kind of like, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? How's that going to work? Alien Isolation. When did it even come out? Is it?
Oh, it's longer ago than you think, like 2016, 2017.
Wow. Interesting.
I love a video game, Ben, but unfortunately you said the two words that can throw cold water in my excitement for any game. Mobile game.
Game, yeah. Yeah, any excitement. Guess what? There is a Mass Effect sequel. You never believe it. Oh, where is it?
Yeah,
it's on mobile.
Mobile game, or I don't know what throws more cold water on me, either that or online only. Fuck's sake.
For fuck's sake.
You've never enjoyed any mobile games? Never played?
Yeah, some, but like when I think of
when
I get excited about like the new entry in a franchise,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to experience that on a mobile. I think mobile gaming for me is perfectly fun for low investment throwaway titles that'll just, it's just to keep you busy while you're waiting for a train or sat in a waiting room somewhere. I wouldn't really engage with something at a story level. In fact, the few mobile games I have played recently, nothing makes me more livid than when they turn off my podcast because they dare to think that I want to hear their inherent audio more than I might want to do my other thing while I'm splitting my attention in as many directions as possible.
Or they want you to hear the ad that won't close.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a mobile game, really. I don't think I've played enough, though.
No classic like Angry Birds back in the day.
No, I don't think I even
Joyride, Infinity Blade. Do you remember that one?
I think I played Jetpack Joyride. I can't even say it.
Hates it so much he can't even bring himself to say it.
Can't even bring myself.
Jetpack Joy sort of fade off.
Oh god, not that. Yeah, Snake was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, Snake. That's the best one. They peaked with the first mobile game, and they just never got better.
Could you pause Snake?
Nah, surely not. It's cheating.
Imagine like you were proper, like the snake was ever so long,
and then the lights turn green.
What if someone knocks on the door? Then what?
Just gonna have to.
And then you say, and then the lights turn green. You try to say
the lights turn green. I would never. I couldn't drive when Snake was a thing. No way would I be culpable for that. Like I say, there are games that I play on a mobile that I enjoy perfectly well. Like play a bit of Pokemon Go to this day, but I wouldn't make if it was like that's the only way that you can play this now. This is the main thing of this franchise, and it's only on mobile. I'd be a bit like disappointed.
Is Pokemon Go still a thing? Is that still going?
Yeah.
Skip plays it all the time. Like he's constantly whipping it out and then getting his phone out.
I knew exactly where that was going. He's constantly whipping it out and playing with it and then getting frustrated with it. And then he gets his phone out. I honestly reckon I downloaded it, caught a Pokemon, and then just moved on with my life. I say that like people can enjoy what they like, but it wasn't for me, was it? Was it?
Yeah. I don't feel like horror games translate very well to mobile, so I don't think the Alien one will. Because it needs to be the way those games work are by being incredibly immersive, and like as David Lynch says, you shouldn't watch a movie on your fucking iPhone because like it loses some.
He's an Android man.
Because you should
watch it on your Nokia,
on your Samsung Galaxy, whatever number we're up to.
That's great. That's what he's sponsored by them.
Yeah.
I think I agree. Like. Is Resident Evil 4 on mobile yet? Because that was on. That's been on every platform.
It's come out in VR. I actually really want to play that.
Yeah. You got your grenades on your chest apparently, and female gamers are saying it makes them grab their boobs.
Explode.
That's what I read.
Boob power.
That should have been in horror news. I should have included that, but sorry.
Sorry, we got to it.
Explosive boob power. Explosive boob power happens to the best of us. But yeah, that is pretty much it for horror news, I guess. Has anything been released? I don't think anything's really been released. I know Ghostbusters Afterlife is next week. Don't think any horror has been released on streaming services or anything like that. I think it's been a fairly quiet. This is a post-Halloween slump.
Yeah.
Right.
Although we were just saying before we started, what was out in full force. Lots of great, largely independent from our shopping as well, horror comics that are all up in our business. my shelves are burgeoning with new reads. So we chatted about maybe we'll do a little bonus episode on some horror comics.
Horror comics episode could be cool. Yeah, I at Thought Bubble I spent some money without really realizing I was doing it either. You know, it wasn't until I amassed everything at the end when I went, okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's also quite difficult, isn't it? Because when you're actually meeting the people that work on these things, especially something the size of Thought Bubble, you meet the people that work on them, and it's not like you know, it's not like W.H. Smith's thinking like, oh, I'm just looking at this book, and the person I'm chatting to is a shopkeeper that doesn't care what they buy. You're talking to the person that actually made it and put a lot of work into it. And if you like them, you have a good chat with them. It's like, oh, really interested in reading your book now. So
difficult to just walk away. I mean, that's like the ultimate offense, isn't it? Just going, sorry, but I enjoy what you've told me, but fuck you.
But there are other things I would rather spend my money on.
I might come back. Yeah, I might come back. Oh, it's difficult. It's difficult.
So I carry smoke pellets around, and then you can just like.
That would be ideal. I'd like.
Where's
to
he gone?
That's exactly how your feet sound on the convention center floor as well. Yeah. But there were some good talks there as well. Me and Luke attended a talk about Swamp Thing, which was cool. Did you attend the horror comics one, Luke? Do we imagine that? Did you put your
head I did. Yeah. So that had James.
Memorable then.
James Tynan, Rachel Slott, and Michael Craven. No, Michael Craven is someone from The Office. I can't remember who the other guy was.
Becky Cloonan, did you mention was at some point involved?
Say again?
Did you say Becky Cloonan was involved at some point?
Yeah. It was really good. I think the thing is, I was quite tired. I remember feeling like I need to start moving around soon, otherwise I'm going to start drifting off. But it was weird because they were talking about like their favorite horror movie and stuff. And whenever someone starts talking about that kind of thing, I'm like, when do I get to say my bit?
So hang on, you guys here are comic creators. If you want to talk about horror movies and experience, do you want to give up the mic?
Luke just stood up and went, right. Okay, guys. Finish up.
Okay, nice try. Amateur hours over. If you just
There's a couple of times. I think they brought up movies, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this really obscure movie. And they said it, I can't remember what it was now. And they said, hands up anyone who's seen it. And I'd seen it, but I was like, I'm not putting my hand up. I'm not going to be that person. He's like, yeah.
I have.
What was it?
I can't remember.
Were you impressed by how niche it was as well? He goes, oh, I've
Tetsuo, did you say?
A movie called Sleepaway Camp. No.
I don't know if you guys have heard of a horror film, right, called The Exorcist. It's a bit old, okay. Not a lot of people have seen it.
What was cool, actually, was that they were talking about how in comic books, all the tools of the horror trade are pretty much taken away. Like, you can't do jump scares, you can't play with music to sort of build tension. So a lot of horror comics have to rely on dread, building dread, and also the reveal, like the page reveal when someone turns a page, and then that reveals whatever the disgusting imagery is. And I always feel like Junji Ito comics are maybe the best at that.
Yeah,
they always seem to, whenever you turn the page, and it's always like a really over the top, extremely detailed, like thing, and you're always like you're looking at it for quite a while to work out what exactly you're looking at. Like in Uzumaki, there's like the snail boys. And their eyes like
snail boys.
They're like the amoeba boys from the Powerpuff Girls. They're a gang, and they're like the way their eyes pop out. Like you just find yourself looking at it to try and work out how that works. How that
Junji Ito
works.
is an absolute master of these horror comics, though. Some of it's like some of the most effective horror stuff I've written. And some of your panelists that you're listening to have done some absolutely banging horror comics. There's some really great ones. I mean, there are other ways that you could do it still. What if you made one of your pages really sharp? Be a little jump scare for him.
I remember ages ago, like 10 years ago, there was this web comic, and it was like a Japanese story, one of those kind of creepypasta stories where about a guy walking home and he sees a woman across the street, and it's all like a normal comic. You're sort of scrolling through the pages, and then at some point, it's like early Flash, or something. The way they were presenting the comic, at some point, the pages suddenly start turning on their own, and the woman like flies right towards the camera, like where we're looking, and there's a sound that plays. So they actually meant to get a jump scare in. It was the most terrifying thing.
Wow.
Because it came out of nowhere. Like you didn't realize how the pages, you thought you were just reading a normal webcomic scrolling through, and then it kind of took over and like shot the character right into your face. I'd like to find that again, because that'd be
throw your laptop across the room.
Pretty much, yeah. It was terrifying. I might try and find that. That'd be awesome to read again.
Yeah, so that's pretty much that. Has anybody seen anything this week? Have not had a chance? I suppose it's been one of those.
No, we've been busy weekend. I've almost finished for our other bit of content we're working on. I've almost finished all the Halloween movies. I'm at Robert Zombie's couple now. I've just got about half an hour of his first one and Halloween 2000 whatever year to get through. Then I've done them all this season.
Nice, very nice.
How about you guys? Anything else new?
Yeah, go on, Luke.
I watched Logan again. Oh, I know what I watched that I forgot to put on here. I watched Rush Hour. It's not a horror movie, but it's just one of like a comfort film that me and Kat put on the other night to kind of fall asleep to, and it's very, very funny, very silly. In fact, there was a great joke in there, Ben, where Ben might know because he watched it recently, where the guy is telling that what he wants for the ransom is like, I want a $50 million, 20 in 20s, 10 in 10. And then Chris Tucker says, do you want any fives of that? And I thought, that's a solid joke.
That's a solid joke. That's a solid joke. Yeah, there's some seriously good jokes in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to return to. I've seen probably two things worth discussing. So I think I mentioned last week that movie, The Deep House. Coming out. So like a haunted house underwater. That's essentially the concept, which is an interesting concept, and there are some interesting looking things happening, but the two central performances are really, really bad. The plot's like super predictable, and like it does all the found footage tricks that you've seen 100 times before, so it's almost like impossible to be engaged by. But the main actor is James Jagger, Mick Jagger's son. Don't know if he's been in much else. I think he's been in a handful of things. Don't know if this was just the way his character was written. His character was just the worst. And almost everything he said, I was like, oh my God, shut up. Please shut up. And that kind of just ruined it for me. Do you know what I mean? I was like, even when he was trying to be, I mean, minor spoilers, I guess, but even when he was trying to be a bit spooky, I was like, you're a dickhead. Please shut up.
He's walking around the haunted house doing like the crazy frog noise. What are you doing?
Almost as bad as that, yeah. But so I had to wash that out of my mouth. It wasn't a horror I watched, but I watched the Western movie on Netflix, The Harder They Fall, which is like, I love a modern Western. I love all Westerns really, but a modern Western, something about that, seeing actors perhaps you've not seen in a Western suddenly in a Western is pretty awesome. This was like action packed, so cool, like some of the best one-liners in there, and an absolutely stacked cast, loads of standoffs, loads of shootouts. Sorry. So we've got Jonathan Majors is in it, or who we saw recently as the what's his name in Loki? The Kang the Conqueror.
Kang the Conqueror, yeah.
Yeah, Idris Elba's in it. Regina King, obviously, of Watchmen recently. Obviously, been loads of other things. Zazie Beetz, Delroy Lindo's. Obviously, it was amazing in The Five Bloods. So yeah, the cast is like absolutely stacked, and it is just kind of banging. And it kind of made me think I want to go and play Red Dead Redemption again, because I just love kind of existing in that world. I mean, it's kind of predictable. Like, you know what's going to happen. Someone's going to get shot. Someone's going to get shot. Someone's going to do a bank robbery.
The railroad's going to be coming through here any day now. Someone drinks the milkshake, those type of things.
Yeah, pretty much all of that. But yeah, it was really good. It was really fun. So yeah, that was it. That's all I've seen. But I would recommend one of those and not the other. Choose which one if you like.
The film of the week, Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak.
Oh wow, you practiced that.
Crimson Peak.
So the film of the week is Crimson Peak. Is a 2015 Gothic romance horror film directed by Guillermo del Toro, written by Del Toro and Matthew Robbins. The film stars Maya Wasikowska, how do you say her name? Tom Hiddleston, Jessica Chastain.
I was going to ask, how do you say that? How do you say name? I say Mia Wasikowska.
Yeah, I think that's right. Charlie Hunnam couldn't remember that he was in this.
Yeah.
So, in the aftermath of a family tragedy, an aspiring author is torn between love for her childhood friend and the temptation of a mysterious outsider. Trying to escape the ghosts of her past, and there's lots of them, she is swept away to a house that breathes, bleeds, and remembers.
So on IMDb, this has 6.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes critic score is 72%. Audience score is 55%. Letterboxd has an average of 3.3 out of 5. A few choice reviews here. We're going to try it a little bit differently. I'm going to give you the first part of the review, and you have to tell me what you have to fill in the blank. So Flo Lieb said, "Don't know what's scary in this film: the terrible effects or Charlie Hunnam's what
accent." No, because he's American.
Westcott.
What?
Hair.
What did you say before?
Hair.
Hair. Yeah.
Andy said hair. I can't take credit for that.
His accent is weird though. 1 star. Next one is review by Shayna. She put 5 stars for Hiddle's what? So Hiddle, that's a nickname for Tom Hiddleston.
5 stars for
5
Hiddle's
stabbed face.
Ass crack.
That's close.
Dancing waltz.
5 stars for Hiddle's tush.
That's pretty much there.
Yeah.
Ass crack counts.
Last one from Ragtimev. He put, the ghosts are laughably bad. They're about as scary as a what?
So laughingly bad. So something that isn't scary. Episode of Fraggle Rock. Episode
of Big Bang Theory.
The ghosts are laughably bad. They're about as scary as a fart. 1 star.
Well, it depends. If it's a live one, if it's a live one, and you weren't expecting it.
Jump scare.
If you were sitting down to your first meeting with your new employers or a new partner's parents, and you unexpected, that'd be quite scary.
And it's not a clean one.
A scary one is when you sit on the toilet and you expect to be completely silent, but for some reason it goes.
Trying to sell you butter.
Turn around, little Lurpak man's back there. Made of shite. We've done a couple of Del Toro movies on this podcast, including The Devil's Backbone, which was episode number
1. Right.
Numero.
Fill in the blanks. Correct.
Fill in the blanks. Correct. Basically, this whole podcast episode is just going to to be asking the other person to fill in the blanks. Pretty exciting.
I thought the film was very
good. It was good. It were good. And we also did Pan's Labyrinth at some point. I think that's it. I don't think we've done Kronos.
Wait. No, not Kronos. Not Hellboy. Not done.
We've not done
we must have talked about The Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water. The Shape of Water. Yeah. We've not done an episode on it though. So
no.
We've done some Del Toro. We've dabbled in some Del Toro. I bet we have done more Del Toro presents / Del Toro produced stuff.
Del Toro is involved with, incidentally.
Del Toro came in the room when they were pitching it and he nodded.
Yeah.
And I walked out.
Did you know Del Toro, I might be, when he's from a wealthy family in South America. And I might be getting this wrong, but I think he was kidnapped as a kid for a ransom, or they attempted to kidnap him. or something along those lines. I'm maybe getting it completely wrong, but I know something bad happened and he wanted lots of money from him. And I always found that like really like a interesting little backstory. So interesting, I can't even remember what exactly happened.
Didn't someone else that we know pay for it? Like someone paid the ransom, or someone you know.
Yeah, that's right. Someone some big like, filmy type, like Steven Spielberg,
like Steven Spielberg or someone like that. You're right. They paid the ransom.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe it was Steven. Maybe it was Del Toro's.
James Cameron saved Guillermo del Toro's father from kidnappers. They wanted $1 million, and James Cameron just went, "Here you are, have it."
I've got the money from the Titanic. Here you go. He's got the heart of the sea. That's what they want.
That's very nice of him. James Cameron does seem like an all right guy overall. Trying to save the planet, save the planet,
trying to make as many.
Loves a submarine.
Save our dads. Save our dads. And also watch Avatar 6 coming this summer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to feel trolled by the entire thing. So how many Avatar sequels that are all coming out at the same time are there now?
And there's a game coming out as well. Wait, is it a genuine question? I think there's 3 coming out, right?
Yeah. But they are being all worked on at the same time, right? Or roughly the same time. And they're matrixing it and they're all being like completed back to back. So when he is finished, it's like backing up podcast recordings, then he can literally just bang them out.
I hope they're good. I mean, he's worked on them for so long. Like, I'd be really upset for him if they're not very good. But it can't be bad. I mean, you work on them for that long. It must be. I want them
to be good. I think I only ever watched Avatar though once. It was an experience to see at the cinema, but I've never really gone back to it.
I always quite liked it. I always thought it was fine entertainment.
Yeah, that's it. It's fine entertaining, but like with them being so long away now. I remember Duke Nukem Forever, Luke. I remember how that went down.
Metroid Dread came out eventually, and it's done really well reviews. That was coming out for years and years. Anyway, James Cameron saved Guillermo del Toro's dad from a dad ransom. So,
from a dad ransom. Yeah, there we go. So, Crimson Pick.
How are we feeling overall? Have you seen it before? This first viewing?
Saw it at the cinema, I believe.
Yeah.
Were you excited about it? Were you like, new Del Toro movie? It's going to blow the tits off everybody in the audience, including me.
Well, I was open, so
that's exactly how I felt going in. I think at the time it was coming out, it was obviously in the Hellboy kind of era of GDT's movies, and I was a big fan of both. Yeah, I was a fan of both of those. So I saw that he had something that took away the superhero element and had, from what I recall at the time, this was a film that he was really passionate about and a film he really wanted to make, right? Like a Gothic horror story.
I feel like he says that about every film, though. I mean,
I feel like he's a director that is very into the things he gets to make, right? Whether it's this or Pacific
Rim.
Like
Pacific Rim, which he said was like a more for the audience, I guess. From interviews, it sounds like he had a massively fun time. I guess if he doesn't want to do it, he just doesn't do it, because he was supposed to do Hobbit, and then he said no.
Don't want to.
Yeah.
What were you saying? Literally like 10 minutes before they're supposed to start shooting, he went, "Hang on a minute. Do you know what?
On the first day,
this ain't for me. See you later." Who else we got knocking about? Well, we got Peter Jackson just backstage. Yeah, here he is. Nice one.
Roll him out, get it done. But I was into it at the time. I was looking forward to seeing it. I think enough time had come that I'd seen some of the reviews as you'd expect, a bit like our first and last reviews on Letterboxd. People go, "Ain't even scary though, is it? Ain't even scary. Not even that scary." But I remember enjoying it at the time.
Yeah, I think you don't want kind of like traditional scares from this movie anyway, do you? It's kind of like the atmosphere is the key thing, and also like the ghosties look creepy enough and unique enough to.
It's more like a pretty quiet horror, right? It's not a loud. It's not a Conjuring verse movie, which I think when I first watched it, I think I was kind of hoping it would be a bit scarier, but So maybe he didn't appreciate it all in the way it should have done back then. But this time, it makes me feel like I'm looking at loads of who's the guy who does the Mike Mignola. Is that how you say his name? I've never said it out loud.
Oh, well, the guy does
all the Hellboy covers. It makes me think I'm looking at a load of Hellboy covers.
Yeah.
Or like his visual aesthetic is there. It also reminds me of Tim Burton movies in some ways as well.
Yeah, it's your checkered floors and your big grand houses that really drive into that, right?
Yeah. Big grand houses that are falling apart and an absolute nightmare for anyone to live in. Imagine trying to get this surveyed, this house as well. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, if you get that extended home buyers report on that, they're going to find all sorts.
Just knock it down and start again. That's what you'd say. What's the bloody point? Knock it down and start again. It's sinking. It's falling apart. There's a hole in the roof. All the elements are coming in. Elephants.
Got damp in it.
I mean, there's damp. There's damp, and then there's that. You couldn't.
The floor is squidgy. It looks like red velvet cake is coming through.
You've accidentally made your extension out of red velvet cake. There's moths up in the bedroom, tons of them.
If you were walking across that floor, and you could quite easily sneak out a fart, and no one would notice.
What was that? Bloody floor, mate. What's that?
It's those ghosts. They'd be less scary than this.
One of them trumping ghosts.
One of them bloody trumping ghosts. Everyone seems to be so freezing cold in this house as well. I'm absolutely it's absolutely Baltic in here.
Yeah, it doesn't look comfy. Even when you have a bath, a hot bath in a place like that, as soon as you get out, instantly cold again.
Cold because the floor's going to be cold, and you put your little feet on the floor.
Yeah.
How many things do they say were wrong with this house? Where I was just that as well. Careful, the water runs red before.
You're going to get Nick Knowles in, possibly even challenge Annika. Get that sorted.
And where's the corner shop? You're not going to believe this. It's like a day's walk away.
It's a day's walk away. But I'm absolutely gasping for some Jaffa cakes.
Oh, no. Come on. Should I nip out the post office and get a Whisper Gold? No. It's 4 hours walk.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Devastated.
It comes with a free dog, though. That's always nice.
A free dog. And is the dog impervious to all of the elements or something for some reason?
It's in the breed. What breed is it again? It's like a little chihuahua or something.
Little chihuahua dog. Although
they're made to withstand Arctic climate.
Yeah. Just being left outside and it's fine.
Just leave it outside. I read oh god, this is horrible. Someone I follow on Instagram was doing a pet death stories, pretty disgusting. But one that was an actual a horror film pet death, as I thought. Some little girl said she's an adult now, but when she was a little girl, she said she used to drive around the streets with her bike with a little hamster in a little basket in the front of her front of her bike, ET style. And she said it was a particularly hot summer, and when she got back from riding around, I think maybe her grandparents had come to pick her up, and she was so excited that she just left the bike there out in the heat. And apparently, when she came back, hamster was gone. Just a load of maggots.
Oh,
what happened?
Replaced by maggots.
Replaced by maggots.
So where's the hamster then? Bird must have come and took the hamster and gone. I'll take this hamster. Yeah. I mean, I can trade you.
You can trade you, but it might not be fair. But there's no one around to negotiate.
You make it sound like she went in for dinner, came back outside, and there were maggots there.
No, I think she went to her grandparents for a week or something, or a weekend.
Oh,
Jesus!
And it was really hot, so it obviously just cooked.
Poor thing.
Well, I hope she was writing that from prison where she belongs.
Did you see that? There's that famous dog in Edinburgh. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a grave where the owner died, and apparently the little terrier or whatever. There's a statue of it now. It never left the grave. It just stayed there above the grave where its owner died. And people say because he buried him with the lead still on.
There's that one in Japan as well, isn't there? With the dog that's the statues outside the station in Tokyo. He used to hang out there every day waiting for his thing.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
That reminds me of the saddest episode of Futurama of all time.
Yeah.
The owner was buried with treats in his hand. That's why.
Yeah. Bury me with all my sausages.
Okay, so this film starts in Buffalo, New York, 1887. It starts very much like a Wishbone flashback. If you've ever seen Wishbone, you'll know. It looks to me like
if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Wishbone, pause.
What are you doing? And what I mean by that is when like the whole location where you've got people on carts rolling around and the grading, and they're obviously using it's like film studios have locations like that pre-made, if that makes sense, for these kind of shoots. It screams of that to me.
I was thinking Gangs of New York, but I suppose
it could be similar.
Gangs of New York earlier than that, I think.
And the primary actor is of course replaced with a dog.
Yeah.
Although there's a flashback before we do anything else, right? Because we see
when she's a kid. Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, I'll tell you what. There's one thing that I know for good and certain is Edith Cushing. Is she named after that because GDT loves the Cush?
Love a bit of the Cush. Push more cushion for the pushing.
So Edith goes, I'll tell you what. There's one thing I know. It's that ghosts are real. Saw one once. It was me, mum. Her mom had got poorly and had died of I don't know, TB or one of the things he died of in those days. And then
I don't know.
That night in bed after the funeral, her mom came and she was nice still. She was still her nice mom. Slightly spoils the effect though because she's a horrid skeleton now.
Wait, she's a skeleton, but she's also got lips.
Yeah,
like she's got like a mouth.
Don't worry.
So she's
don't
dressed,
be scared.
Maybe she died in a Skeletor cosplay.
Also, she made out of licorice.
Completely dressed as licorice Skeletor. And little girl's trying to sleep in bed, and then big tenderly licorice hand comes onto her shoulder, and she goes, "Oh,
put it all on red tomorrow."
Our kid, let us tell you when the time comes. Just be dead careful, beware in it even of Crimson Peak.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to believe? That when her mum died, she saw the past, she saw the future, she saw the entire timeline of her daughter's life. Realized if she goes to Crimson Peak, it all kicks off. So she's
she decides to name the house by its nickname and not the actual address.
Yeah, give some more details.
And also, DE12.
How many ghost visits do you get? Is it like when you're in prison, you only get one phone call, you only get one ghost visit? You got to get it all out in one go. Make sure that you get all the details.
Wait, so is that her mum then? I thought it was the mum of the what do you call the brother and sister, because there's a thing later on, like a big portrait. And the face of the big portrait lady looks almost exactly like
everyone of that age. Everyone of that age looked the same back in those days.
Yeah, old people. Yeah, old people. It was very popular in that era to dress as a licorice Skeletor. But I think it was her mom because she says "my child" and says,
when you see photos of people in like the 80s, everyone's just in brown. Everyone's got the same sort of curly hair. It's pretty much like that, but in the 1880s, everyone just was licorice Skeletor.
Yeah, and if you look, Karen pointed this out when we were looking at the film as well. When she's a little girl in bed, she has the same dress on that she would wear years later in Crimson Peak. She hasn't grown into it yet, so it's a night dress right now.
I mean,
you'll grow into it.
You never grow into that dress. That dress was like it grows with you. Like it looks super fluffy. So the whole point of this opening bit is there's 2 points, right? There's one that's like it's kind of sets the theme of ghosts. Ghosts are real, but they're like the past or memories, or I can't remember what she says.
Yeah, they're not necessarily ghoulies, they're just memories.
That's what Derek Acora says. Ghosts aren't real, but they're the past. Oh, he's dead as well.
Oh, thanks, Sam. Thanks.
Yeah. And also, just to set the bad omen, never goes to Crimson Peak, which is later on is gonna jolt us when we realize, oh my gosh, she's already in Crimson Peak. But yeah, and then we cut to not modern day, but later on.
Modern day for these guys.
Yeah. Wait, did we do
still the days of yore for us?
Do we do a little rundown of the characters? So obviously we've got
Mia
Wasikowska is Edith Cushing, more cushion for the pushing. Jessica Chastain and Tom Hiddleston play Lucille and Thomas Sharp. Is this like one of Tom Hiddleston's first like big roles? Was this after 4? I suppose it was after 4, wasn't it? But first big non-MCU role, I guess.
When did Thor come out?
I reckon 2000 and
Thor came out in 2011.
I think that was after this, right?
And this came out in
2015. This came out.
2015, yeah.
That's not as long ago as I thought it would be.
Probably done 2 Thors by then.
Yeah.
Charlie Hunnam is Dr. Alan McMichael. Nice name. Jim Beaver is Carter Cushing. That's Edith Cushing's dad.
Yeah.
Who never ever gets to finish his shave. Frustrated.
Oh, his ghost skeleton will have a half shave.
He'll have as a ghost, he'll just have shaving cream on his cheeks the whole time. I'm so embarrassed.
Wispy bits of blood coming off there.
I'm so embarrassed that this has happened. I'm a ghost.
See anyway, because they all turn into different types of candy. The ghosts in this one, what are the red ones? That are some sort of
red licorice.
Red velvet cake. Ghosts.
Black velvet cake.
Black velvet cake. Licorice all sort cake. What's like a grey one? Is there a grey one?
Yeah, a major character. I mean, spoilers when we get to it, but yeah, some becomes, I guess, just marshmallows.
One of them becomes like, one of them becomes like meringue flavor.
Yeah,
without a doubt. There we go.
Eating
That's
mess.
pretty much it.
Yeah, eating mess.
So, so then now Edith is like she wants to be an author. I think she wants to write ghost stories. And she goes to this kind of like business building that a few people are knocking around in. One is her father, I think. One is Charlie Hunnam, who has a room there, I guess. And also there's like a publisher or an agent of some sort. He reads it, and he says he doesn't like ghost stories, or because she's a girl, she should write romance stories.
He loves the handwriting. He goes, "Oh, your handwriting's lovely.
Very curly. Very curly. I love the curls on these.
Very curly. Very nice.
He loves the curly writing, but you're right. He's just like, oh, not ghost stories. I won't sleep tonight now.
Also, there's a little bit of a conversation between Edith and some of the local lassies about Thomas.
They say about
Sir Thomas Sharp's in town. He goes, "Oh, isn't he an exquisite dancer? He is a right fitty." And she doesn't care for that.
And he's a baronet, which is a kind of ice cream. Baronet's
I thought baronets the people that walk in front of parades and twizzle that stick. Are they baronets?
He'd be well good at that. So he's a good dancer.
Inherited land. On,
he's good at break dancing. He brings a piece of cardboard with him everywhere. He goes, listen.
Spins on his head. Brings a boombox.
Spins on his head. Gets reek dizzy. He's like, I'm real good at inventing stuff, but unfortunately, I've just invented this tiny little toy, little digging machine.
You need a big one.
You need a big one of them. He's like,
that's like a Zoolander when he shows him the little model. It's good school, but how are the children going to get inside?
It needs to be at least 3 times bigger. A school for ants.
The little machine's cool. I like it. It looks like a kind of model that someone has made in their spare time. And they're going to put it on the bookshelf.
Also, like, is he actually? I know, obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything yet because there are some reveals. How long has he been trying to get investment for this thing? In the whole time he's been trying to get investment for it, at least he could make something other than a shitty little prototype. I mean, good prototype. Come on.
Well, he's been too busy going around asking for money because that's it. When he gets to when he's talking to the people, including Edith's dad, so Carter Cushing, he says that, and like it feels like a bit of a trap because he's there doing this presentation, And before he goes in, he has met Edith and gone, well, I think ghost stories are brilliant. So that's really, really interesting. But then the dad, Carter, kind of sets a bit of a trap for him. And he goes, okay, so tell me about your idea. Sits there, listens, and then absolutely ambushes the shit out of him. He's like, well, basically, you've been to London, you've been here, you've been there, you've been everywhere trying to get money for this. You failed to... So your credit score's down the drain, mate. Look at this. Look at these Experian numbers. Awful.
Air miles off the charts. But, shite. He just basically says, without saying it, shite.
I'm out.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm out.
For that reason, I'm out.
For that reason,
yeah.
I'm out.
Duncan Valentine's out. Peter Jones is out. It's really down to just Deborah Mead.
Theo Buffer. What's his name?
Fetus.
Yeah.
You'll never imagine my disappointment as to where I was. I think I was in the US and I saw a program called Shark Tank on. I was like, oh, Shark Tank. I bet people are trying to get over a Shark Tank on like a ropey ladder. No, it's just Dragon's Den under a different name. Absolute bullshit. I've never turned the TV off so quickly.
I like Shark Tank. It's all right. I mean, it's
not that program, is it? It's not the much better program I've just described.
No,
I've not felt such disappointment since I found out that there's no actual race in RuPaul's Drag Race. I want them to be drag acts racing across America, possibly in drag cars.
At the end of Shark Tank,
wacky races.
You turned it off too fast. At the end of Shark Tank, they do make them crawl across a little Shark Tank to get their money at the end.
Get the money. Oh. The sharks have lasers on their heads.
Freaking lasers on their head. Yeah.
Wow.
So so Carter said he's out. And then I think then we go to the party. Tom does his breakdance routine. It's a very different waltz over in England. It just starts spinning.
Stop. Collaborate.
And also it's weird because Edith doesn't want to go to the dance. He goes to her house and kind of invites her out to the party anyway.
They say that he's sopping wet outside, like inviting her to the dance. What does he just go there and sopping wet? I bet he's soaked right through down to his pants. It's embarrassing. No one wants that. You have to go.
Yeah, and there's no radiators back then. I bet, is there? Is there radiators?
There's no hand dryers. Certainly, you can't get a Dyson V and just dry your trousers off.
Yeah,
not so. Got it.
But he's all right. He's presentable enough, and he takes Edith to the party. And even though Edith already turned down going with her dad, because she seems a little bit put out that her dad was quite so mean to him, because he gets a little bit upset and says, "Come on, I'm going to work as hard as anyone else." But he takes Edith along to the party. Those society bitches are there. They're like, "Oh wow." She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't invited." She says, "Oh no, I'm very good at making sure people find their place, and I'll make sure you find yours."
Oh yeah, really.
Oh geez, saucer of milk for you, mate.
Mate.
But thankfully that doesn't get to happen, because before she can hatch any sort of societal sabotage, they do that wicked dance in the English style, and literally shows the levels of entertainment. Then this is why in the 1800s people would flock out in their thousands to see a train go by. Like they see this English waltz and there are gasps.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be the equivalent. What would be the equivalent today of like watching X Factor or something?
Watching what they called? What's that dance troupe called?
Diversity come out and do an incredible dance.
Diversity come out, do an incredible dance whilst holding a candle that's alight, and it don't go out.
To be fair though, the level of like gasping and awe that comes from this audience, it's beyond just a good performance. This is like at the levels of the X Factor, when like a little tiny Tim-esque kid comes out like on a little crutch and like stutters when he's speaking to Simon Cowell, and then sings like an angel. Like, there are people getting up in floods of tears. And a candle doesn't go out.
And a candle doesn't go out, which he holds directly in front of his mouth. Like, it's not real good, but not very blowy.
So, so he does that dance, and I don't think anything happens particularly at this point, other than Edith and Tom start to develop a relationship of sorts, right?
They're hanging out, and she's showing him her book because he actually thinks the ghost stories are
wicked,
brilliant. It's a point to bring up here. But it feels like the author piece really disappears after this initial section.
Oh yeah,
there's a bit at the end where they're like burning the book.
Jessica Chastain's just burning a book up and just gives her the shittest review. She's like, "Oh, you wanted to be an author? Absolute shite." And she's just wanging the pages in the fire. But for all of the time that the main action of the film is happening, the her aspirations or her connection to being an author kind of disappears.
Yeah. She talks about like a hero being like Mary Shelley and stuff. So maybe it's just a kind of thematic.
Yeah, because they say, "Oh, she's the new."
You're the new. You're the new.
Dave
what's it? You're the new Bronte sister. Oh, she died a spinster. Yeah, she died a spinster when she was about 30 because she died incredibly young. She's I'd rather be Mary Shelley. She died a widow, so I'd rather someone else be dead first. Yeah,
I don't know if that's better.
She goes, "I'd rather be Mary Shelley. She never died."
She's back like the Emperor. And also, bearing in mind this is the past as well. You're speaking to people that like have died in a fairly contemporary sense, like someone who just died last week. I'm not going to pull an example and say, "Oh, look at you! You want to be the new recently dead celebrity, massively insensitively."
Matt Cardle. Unexpected.
You want to be
what you've done there, Luke, is mistaken a live man from X Factor from the man with a very similar name that is Maniac Cop.
Oh yeah.
Matt
Cardle. Okay, rest in peace, Matt Cardle.
Don't come back as a cop and get us.
No.
So around this time, Captain Carter gets an inclination that Tom has sights on his daughter, so he hires a creepy private investigator guy.
The guy whose name is Holly Byrne Gorman, who always plays like a slight thug in these movies.
Yeah.
And he was in Torchwood over here as well.
Yeah. I thought I recognized him. He's in loads of stuff. I think he's in a Batman film.
He's in The Dark Knight Rises, right? He's one of the people that works for.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Bane and those guys.
Bane. Yeah. So just before this, I think Thomas asks his sister Lucille for her ring, which he's gonna use to. It's a family heirloom.
Says like, she's like, I want it back.
How annoying is she in this, right? I know she's obviously a villain, but Jessica Chastain is not somebody I've usually watched on screen and gone, bloody do my head in here, but she was. I was just like, oh god, horrific. There's literally nothing. She's quite a simple sort of two-dimensional character. There's not much to her. It's not like you sort of unpick all these things. You find out about her past, but it's not like
it feels like sometimes she is the mastermind, but it kind of undercuts that a little bit because her mastermindness is kind of washed away by how very quickly to us, the audience, she gives away her plans. Like she may as well say, I want this ring back though, because I intend that you kill this woman.
Yeah.
Or this is my plan to this. Or later on when she kicks off where she's like, oh, fucking hell, I'm insane and I'm poisoning you. I mean, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. Luckily I've been poisoning the porridge all along as well.
She's quite evil stepmother, caricature.
I just
more
feel
than
like
a real person.
It kind of would have made more sense for her to have been at least personable, or to build some sort of bond with Edith that was then upended by the reveal of she's been poisoning her all along. Do you know what I mean? The fact that she hates her, like, she's been poisoning her. Oh well, I'd be surprised if she wasn't.
Yeah.
I feel like her default thing would be to give you poison, even if you were just the gasman. You're gonna got to check the gas. Oh, sure, you'd like a cup of tea? It's poison. Oh, it's fine.
How many sugar? How many spoons of poison? I mean,
how many poisons in your tea?
How many poisons do you take in your tea?
No, I'm trying to cut down. I'm trying to cut down. None for me, thanks.
When she stirs the tea, She like scrapes the side of the cup super loud and super slow, and it really went through me.
See, that's horrendous. Annoying.
China's not going to last doing that to it.
Oh, think about it now.
Whoa. Ugh.
Which is the opposite of the baddie from Get Out. No one's going to be lulled into hypnosis with those like scraping noises. You'd be like, oh, yeah. And like the opposite of
horrific,
lady. Thanks. So, Tom Hiddleston proposes to Mia Wasikowska.
Is he kind of psyching up to it? He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna ask," but her dad.
Well, at the same time, like
dad cushion.
Before,
yeah.
Oh yeah. How's this?
He goes before you do that because she goes, "Oh, Jessica, not Jessica." He goes, Edith, can I have a word?" And the dad's like, "No, can I have a word with you first?" And he, that thuggish man has uncovered a secret. And he goes and he sort of gets Tom and Lucille together. He goes, right, look at this paper here. Now, unless you want this secret,
poo-poo heads.
Yeah. Look at this paper, just a crude drawing of them.
Look at this paper here. It's a Daily Sport, and it's got one of those stories on the front, which is like a man who put 4 cream eggs up his ass.
Look at
How do you eat yours?
In the Express and Star here, it says that you two are homosexual Martians. How do you plead?
They're like, okay, we'll leave, fine. But
cuts them a check. Said, right, if you get the fuck out. Oh, but by the way, condition 1, you got to do one. Condition 2, you have to break my daughter's heart.
She's been dead annoying recently. Can you just give her one for me?
Well, I mean, you could just say, can you just leave? Make up an excuse.
Yeah.
You got to utterly break her heart. Tell her hair's shit. Tell her her breath stinks of onions.
And to be honest, I've been banging on. Like, if you could also do me a favor and tell her to stop writing ghost stories and write a romance story with a nice handwriting, like my mate, the publisher, wants, that'd be bang on.
Yeah. So I found it not emotional, but I mean, like, there's an element you can kind of tell that Tom doesn't want to do this, and he's sort of like ripping into her, punches her right in the stomach a couple of times.
Yeah, he really gets in on the book. So, this book,
yeah,
absolute
right
bobbins.
Yeah,
he's like, it's worse than Morrissey's novel. Ever read that? Jesus, it's even worse than that, and that made me throw up in my mouth at the end of every paragraph.
Yeah,
that's the same.
So then he's supposed to actually cut to the next man. Captain Carter is in the bathroom.
He's gone for a shave and a haircut, and he's asked for some lovely eggs.
He must have said toilet man 5 times in the mirror because there's a toilet man right next to him, and who's got like the shaving creams and stuff and smellies. And then where does the toilet man go?
Well, the guy's there saying freshen up. It's because he asks him for so. You couldn't, after I've had my shave and my newspaper, could you get me some eggies, please? I have some eggs and soldiers. And he goes, sure, so I'll go and get the eggs on.
And soldiers.
But then someone doesn't bring him a newspaper and eggies. While he's there about to have a shave, someone goes and smashes his face in on the sink.
Breaks his head open like an egg.
Yeah,
right on the sink. Yeah,
and then dips
the soldier in
the dips the soldier in the old grey.
If we're supposed to,
he's had it.
Quite brutal, that is that bit.
Quite brutal. We're supposed to essentially believe it's one of 2 characters. We're supposed to kind of believe it's one rather than the other, I guess, at this point. But since when did they become like super strength assassins? Because it is brutal, like smashing people's heads through a bloody sink.
And he's a captain. He's a Captain Carter.
Yeah,
he's a captain.
And he is effortlessly. I guess a bathroom. It's a very steamy bathroom. Might be real slippery in there.
Yeah,
he's effortlessly dispatched Hitman style. Like, this is a mission in Hitman. Go and smash. He's gonna have a shave in there. Quickly walk in when the guards have gone off to get him his breakfast, and then bang, straight on sink.
Yeah, absolutely bashes him silly, but he's definitely dead immediately.
Yeah.
His head splits open in half. Like, it can barely stay together.
It's really smashed, and that sink's broken as well. I mean, later on, the doctor, that Charlie Hunnam examines it as if there's like a crack where it's been, but that sink would have had to have been replaced. You haven't got the technology to just glue that back together, unless that bathroom man sat there with every little piece and his little tube of glue. Like
bathroom man.
You've seen the guy who remakes stuff like that with like noodles. Like he gets like dried noodles,
the ramen,
yeah,
sands them right down.
And stuff. Yeah, and
maybe that's it then. Maybe he was around. They got a ramen sink.
You say noodle man in the mirror 5 times.
You couldn't do a sink with that though.
It appears with his toolbox.
Because then when you're having a really steamy wash of the face, you'd boil your noodles.
He does do sinks though, and then I think he puts some sort of lacquer over the top of it.
So he doesn't put like the flavor dust on them. He puts like an enamel dust.
Yeah. I always like in Arrested Development where they go to prison and everyone keeps getting stabbed by sharpened noodles. Like they're walking around with like sharpened ramen noodles.
Fashion them into a key to escape.
Yeah. Also, in Squid Game, they eat them uncooked. Did you see that?
They do that in Korea all the time. The kids I used to teach over there, they used to like one of my late classes. They had a little break in the middle. We'd go over to the corner shop, and the kids in that class would get like a bottle, like a thing of the ramen noodles, and they just like smash them on the table. So he'd like get the packet, smash it on the table until it was dust inside, and then he'd open up, sprinkle the flavor on, and have them like a little bowl of crisps, like a bag of crisps at the table. And when you're at the pub, when you open them up like pub style, they can all dip in.
Well, that sounds okay, I guess. But
nice.
I don't know. I think crisps.
Did you ever have like that? Did you ever have the ramen noodles rule?
Yeah, we used to sit there and used to sit there like it was teenagers. We used to. They did all their work in the first session. In the second one, I would have them watch an episode of Invader Zim, and we do some comprehension questions afterwards, and we'd sit and eat noodles while we did it.
Sounds fair enough.
I mean, I think I'd prefer it soft because of my soft mouth.
Like a spaniel.
I like rusks with milk, nothing else.
Little baby's rusks. Classic.
So what happens now? So I think actually it pretty much just cuts to like Tom says, you've got a dead dad here. Let's leave him.
So Edith gets a letter that says, "All right, it's me, Tom. I only slagged your book off because your dad told me to.
JK.
But actually, I think you're brilliant, and I'm going away because I'm being paid off to. All I want is his blessing, because I think your dad is great, and I definitely would have nothing to do with murdering him if that should ever happen. So I just want his permission to be your mate. So I'm going to go over. I'm going to go back home and prove myself." She rushes to his hotel and goes. He is there still. There's a bit of a joke that he's not going to be there, but he hasn't gone. His sister has gone. But then someone comes in, classic olden days bad news. If someone comes up to you, "Oh, is everything all right?"
Yeah.
They take their hats off.
Take their bloody hat off to him. Yeah. And
I do that sometimes when I get back in, if like I've been sent out on something and there's nothing left like at the shop, like, "Oh, go and get us some new bread," and all you can get is like a half loaf. Then it's like, "All right, back from the shop."
Oh God!
Yeah, they only had Farmhouse White. Sorry.
What are you gonna do? What are you going to do when you've actually got to break some real bad news to someone?
Go the other way. Go really cheerful.
Song. Like what do you call it? Like a strippogram.
Oh, I thought you were going to do like a classic rap. So I'll go into the room, turn the chair backwards, and say, "My name's Andy, and I'm here to say I've got some news that's going to bum you out in a major way."
Party boy, Chris Pontius. Was it? They're all dead.
There's been a
no
crash.
survivors. No survivors. Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, they get the news, and then for the cruel and unusual reasons, his lawyer insists that his daughter must ID him from his smashed up face, even though his doctor Charlie Hunnam is there to say, "I've been his doctor for years. I can identify him." The doctor goes,
"No, you wouldn't recognize him.
I am his lawyer," and as we know, it goes doctor, lawyer, I say that his daughter has to see his destroyed face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see him watching like that. Go on, have a look.
How does it make you feel
He's fucked,
looking at
He's
it?
fucked. He's
fucked. Look
fucked.
at that. Like
that
lawyer is like, Mr. Farnsworth Rotten.com. He would go on later.
I was going to say Rotten.com.
Website.
Rotten.com. Jesus. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Mr. Lawyer Farnsworth Rotten.com says, no, you're going to look at it. And then you're right. Tom Hiddleston goes, I'm here for you now. Let's jump cut to us being in England
very
and
convenient
married.
that everyone saw like the breakup, and then I don't know. My eyebrows would be raised.
I guess they've got that letter. I guess they've got that letter though, where they said, "Oh, Anna Dad was doing that, and he was always slipping in bathrooms."
Yeah.
The letter also says, "One day, I hope your dad can get over two things. Number one, not liking me, even though I totally respect him and think he's brilliant and would never do anything against him. And two, being so, laissez-faire about bathroom slip hazards."
Yeah. Or he's going to get filled in.
Yeah. He's going to bang his head on that one day.
He's going to get filled in. Got filled in last night, did he? It's none of my business. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, his head
caved off.
His head is beyond. It's split in half like Clicker from last week.
Yeah,
not pleasant. So they get
he
married.
Gets proper stoved in. Yeah,
they get married off screen, don't they? They just turn up. They all go to England. They turn up in England. They go, "We're married. That's nice." That's pretty.
Although the sort of servant man that lets them out, like the old caretaker or whatever, but he drops them in it straight away. It's like, so this is my wife. He goes, "Oh, I know you've been married for ages."
Yeah, been married for. I bet he goes,
silly,
not
silly.
Another one.
Silly,
not another
guy.
one.
He just like pans it off real quick. It's like, what does she mean? Like, you've been married for ages. Says, oh, ignore him. He's mad.
He's mad as a box of twats. This guy.
Oh, for him, like he's got this disease that makes his concept of time. For him, ages is like a day.
Yeah. We've been gone for at least 300 years. Yeah, of course.
And then the dog turns up, who's been out in the cold for however long.
All this time they've been away in America.
I thought this was going to come back, and there was going to be some sort of explanation as to what this meant.
I felt like the ghost was like feeding the dog or something, keep it alive.
That man they just saw could have been feeding the dog.
I mean, the dog could have gone down into the whatever you call that room where they keep the big vats of goo.
Goo room.
The goo room.
Does the dog eat goo?
I mean,
have some sustenance.
You can live off that.
Yeah,
red velvet cake that the whole West Wing is made out of.
Yeah,
that'll sustain a dog forever.
There's holes in the ceiling and the roof, so maybe a bird flew in and he's jumped up and grabbed it. I don't know.
It's been eating moths. Who knows?
It's been eating lovely moths, delicious moths.
Those lovely dusty moths. They're like those little sherbet flying saucers.
Tom's like, come inside. Let's see what you've won for your house as part of this marriage. Like, there's no roof.
This is like a prize. A prize on Bullseye. Like when you go through all of it and they go, oh, look, you've won a speedboat, even though you live in Milton Keynes.
Those guys are from Tamworth that won that speedboat. That one's literally the furthest point in the UK from the sea in any direction.
Oh my God.
The house is sinking. The floor is squidgy. There's like goop constantly running down the walls.
There's goop everywhere. There's big old hole everywhere. There's big old holes and everything. And by the way, the water runs red for a bit.
Melted.
It's cold constantly. It's absolutely Baltic in there. Everyone's freezing. Nipples are erect all over the place. So it's on top of a red. It's on top of a red clay mine, which is getting eroded by the weather. I don't know how much longer it's got left. It's basically a shithole. It's a hazard. It's like the house at the end of Home Alone 2, which becomes obviously full of traps, but at the same time, it's just in a state of disrepair. And, if you try to make a stack of crates to get from one floor to the other, it would not stay. It would not be steady as a rock. It would collapse.
2? Isn't that when he gets to like the New York
Yeah, that's
building,
it. Like his uncle's room that he's renovating when he's away. Throw bricks down at Harry and Marv.
I never knew what that place was. I haven't seen it for a long time.
It's proper. It's really quite random, but quite scary. I always find the place has got massive holes in the floor, just like that. Dangerous.
Okay, so she has a bath, and I think maybe she starts seeing ghosts pretty quickly.
Yeah, she sees ghosts fairly soon. She sees someone going up in the lift on
pretty much immediately, that isn't it?
The first night, and this is where like the sister, old Jessica Chastain, Lucille, is immediately being suspicious. Oh, it's cold. Get you a cup of tea, not poison.
I'll be like, do you have to live here? Do you have to live here? Because you're just walking around with a face like a slap.
Yeah, do you have to live with us? And then especially like again straight away, it's like, oh, cut us a set of keys, will you? Like, you won't need any. You wouldn't need any fucking keys. Well, you're going dead. I mean.
Would you like a tea made from fire form berries? No thanks. Sounds horrible. Go on. There's nothing else to drink, to be honest.
Someone's pushing their nettles. Have a chamomile. It's much nicer for you. I don't fucking want one. I don't want regular tea, please.
You only
not
sleepy
poison.
Time tea. Yes.
I've got plenty of that. Yes.
And also they have a bit of an obsession, like when Edith like says, oh, I tell you what, despite the fact we're married, Sir Tom's such a gentleman. We had separate cabins all the way. She's trying to like bond with us. Oh, I tell you what, absolutely no fucking as of yet, despite the fact we've been married. She's, oh yeah, that's nice. He's really respectful like that.
Yeah, we haven't consummated our marriage.
Not that it's my business. Just his sister. Nothing untoward going on.
Is a little bit weird about it because she's like, at one side, she really wants them to consummate the marriage so she can get the murder done with, right? Does she need? I guess.
No one needs the paperwork. Just needs the paperwork doing, I guess.
So she just wants them not to have sex because she's jealous, because she's that possessive. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's also possessive over those keys. She's like, you're not having any keys. You don't need any. I mean, it's too dangerous. If you feel you need some later, then you can have some. Again, just come up with a plan and say, yeah, I'll do you some keys, and then don't get around to it. The post office is far away. How far's what's it called?
When my dog's got like a bone or something, she doesn't want anyone else to have it. You go to her and go, get a go with the bone then. She runs away.
Get a go with the bone. Get your own bone.
No, if you got your own bone, she'd want that as well.
Oh yeah. Get your own bone. Oh, it's my bone too.
Oh, that one. Yeah, all the bones are mine, it appears. Yeah, that's what Jessica Chastain's like with the keys. If she sees a key in that house, she's like, well, that's mine.
Mine.
Takes it into a bed, sits on top of it, and growls at anyone who comes nearby.
So she's constantly poisoning her. Edith wakes up at one point, like coughing blood onto the pillow. How many times does Edith like wake up in a chair to somebody giving her tea in this film? It's literally like at least 9.
Yeah, like, every time she wakes up, someone's just there with a steaming cup of poison tea.
There you go. Lovely fire-forward berries tea from Twinings. Would you like some? I do not want it.
You have this one. You have this one. So she's doing that. She's trying to get on with it. Edith really likes the dog. And then she has, is this what the first ghost she sees? Is it a mom again? She's like, oh, just be.
There's like the red.
Be careful about Crimson Peak.
With the axe and not the axe, the meat cleaver in the head.
That's the next. That comes up in another bath, but it's like this section kind of proceeds at a pace, right? So there's definitely another bath after she's starting to get a bit poorly from having the poisonberry tea. She goes to have a bath. The little dog runs off to get the ball, and then the red licorice lady comes in with a big axe in her head saying, bloody hell! Like shouting.
Woman hell! Beware of Crimson Peak. Is that? They didn't say that one, did they? It's her mum who says that.
The mom warns about Crimson Peak, but I think this is when the storms are starting to come in, so things are a bit tense.
How did the mum get there? How did the mum ghost get there? Followed her.
Ghosts just get about, I guess.
Yeah.
Ran behind her like as fast as she could.
It's not so bad nowadays. Like in those days, though, Ben, it would have taken weeks to get over the sea, so she could have probably kept up.
I think they
should have flown.
I think they cover the bases because later on they say ghosts come in all shapes and sizes. Some are stuck to a place, some are stuck to people, some are stuck to memories or something like that. So I guess this one is just stuck to her, like licorice on a shoe.
Yeah, pretty much like that.
Yeah. So the mom comes and says, "Beware of Crimson Peak," and it's at this section where things are clearly tense between her and Lucille. Tom is obsessed with building his big digging machine. Now that some of her money has come through.
There's a part where he like, come on, keep going. We're building the digging machine. And then he hurts his hand. And then for some reason, there was a bit earlier where they said, oh, your hands are soft, like little baby's hands. You've never done a day's work in your life. And this time, after doing marshmallow hands, and after doing one day's work, he's like, my hands are rough. And my hands are proper. My dad would be proud.
Yeah. That's what he's been doing outside. He's just been wrapping his hands in sandpaper. So I'll show you bloody rough hands. Look at this.
Look at this. Look at the state of them. You've been working hard, haven't you? Yes. Correct.
Yeah, just rubbing my hands in the dirt. That's going on. And we're getting all these ghostly apparitions that are appearing and scaring her, like the one that turns up there. She talks to Lucille about their mother. Said, "Oh, she was a wrong un. She's a right old miserable old bastard. If you ever see her, ignore her because she's dead and she'd be a ghost. But don't pay any attention to her."
They talk about their dad like squandered their family fortune as well. He went out. He was spending it on pop vinyls. He loved them, collect them.
Penny whistles and moon pie.
Yeah. So we get a little bit of backstory, but again, that veil never really drops for Lucille, which I think kind of like I think that sort of relationship kind of really did. I struggled to get my head around. At least pretend, isn't it? Just pretend to be nice. Otherwise, you want the. Also, I know we're getting into spoiler territory here, but if they've essentially got money from like five or so other people, what have you been doing? What have you been bloody doing with it?
Build that little model.
Is it so? Later on,
a little model.
Later on, she climbs out of that hole in the ground. It looks like there's more than one machine. Like it looks like maybe there's like older ones that just haven't worked.
Just all the broken machines.
Yeah, just stopping it. Just give it a rest. What if you broke machine number 12? Just knock on the head.
At this point, just buy some spades and dig out that clay.
Yeah.
He's
like, can't be bothered.
Yeah, this is the scene as well. Like, despite the stress that's going on, her and Tom are getting a little bit closer because he shows us some of his other, like the practice mechanical toys that he made. So look at these old toys we've got up in this workshop where I do my inventing, and then things almost get a bit sexy there. But then Lucille turns up with a big old tray of poison tea.
Wait,
no! She's like that butler in Tomb Raider. She's relentless, just following you around with a tray of tea the whole time.
Why are they poison tea? Nice tea.
Why are they even bothering with the poison? Because it seems like with the others, like as soon as there was,
well, all of her money hasn't been signed over yet. So if she's ill, because they go, "Oh, you're poorly, stay here and get better," so they can kind of stop her getting into any mischief and getting around.
It seems to me though that as soon as she signs it, they just kind of push her over a balcony, or they do some violence.
The final one isn't signed yet. It's a little bit later when that kicks off, and that's because she busts.
But I mean, like in general, with the previous wives, weren't they all killed violently, or were they just poisoned over a long period of time?
Well, I think there's the one lady we find the scroll of, that's the recordings of, that said, "Oh, being really poisoned."
Maybe they poison them over time until they're weak, and then they cave their head in with no resistance.
Yeah, they give them like a heavy metal poison or something that takes weeks, right?
They seem extremely violent. Like their mode of killing seems to be like as soon as they've got what they want, they just straight up murder.
I mean, it's
people.
mostly Lucille, right? Rather than
Lucille's
else.
are wrong, and I'm not sure that Tom has done any of the murders.
Yeah.
No. He's innocent, I tell you.
Yeah. So is it around here? Mia goes into the basement and finds the Enola box, or
first they go to the post office one. I mean, you'd be pissed off, wouldn't you? She's getting up and she's feeling poorly all the time and knackered. Always got a dicky tum, always coughing up blood, and they go, "Oh, I tell you what, the machine's working a lot better. We'll have a day out. We'll go to the post office." Like, oh, the post office.
Oh, the post office, eh? I can't wait to see what sights and sounds we'll see at the local post office. I hope they've got a guide I can pick up. And
I mean, to be fair, it's only the same as us in COVID, right? When we were all in lockdown, and it's like,
oh yeah, going to the
Tesco Express,
Tesco Express, or the big Tesco. Oh, let's push the boat down and go to the big Tesco. But
I mean, only one of us can go in morally, but
only one of us can go in, and all the clothes have been roped off. Can't go and have a look at that. You can only go and get fish fingers. That's it.
Yeah, you can read some of the ingredients of some exotic things that you're not going to buy, like foods, obviously.
Yeah, not going to buy that. Sorry,
not going to buy that, but I know what's in it now. Yes, they nip down to the post office, but there's a terrible storm. So out of Lucille's view for an evening, they do finally consummate their marriage. So there is something going on between them. And then when they get back the next day, this is another Lucille reveal of...
Why is there a room they can stay at the post office?
Post office came for
Has yours
back
not
then.
got one? We've got one here. If our legs get too tired,
yeah, they go.
Why don't you go have a lie down upstairs, lad?
We got a room backstage. You got a room back there. You can shag in. Do you want to go?
You can lie on that bubble wrap duvet.
You get in there. You've carried a lot of letters here to the post office. Go and have a lie down.
A pile of manila envelopes for a pillow.
In a
Tuck
post
yourself
office
in.
knocking shop.
And then you lick yourself in to tuck yourself in.
Yeah.
And then you wake up in Skegness. You posted yourself is what you did.
Yeah.
Big old envelopes. So they don't get posted. They just have sex, and then she's literally full of the joys of spring. They get back in. Lucille is there saying, "Oh, your ages.
You stink of manila envelopes. You stink."
A day at the post office.
You've been in a post office shagging room, haven't you? You
Yeah,
bastard.
Yeah, she literally loses it and smashes things down the table. She goes, "What? You haven't it?" And she's like, "What? It's my husband." She's like, "Oh no, I was just dead worried."
Grambling's eggs.
She's been making so many poison teas and had no one to drink them, so she's been drinking them. She's been going, "It's quite nice, actually."
All of these teas have gone cold. I mean, you're going to drink them now, aren't you? She's just been walking around the house constantly boiling a kettle.
Tea? And I guess not long after this, when Edith continues growing weaker, coughing up more blood, there's more nightmares. She sees more ghosts, and she
gets a letter from Milan, one of the letters that she had waiting for at the post office. It was that gives her more clues to go and look in the basement. She goes and looks in the basement. I think the ghost turns up and points. No, that's later. That's the ghost that points them out to elicit shagging. But she goes down and sees some recording cylinders that say, "Hello." Yeah, it's like a video game audio voice log.
Is this thing on?
So yeah,
audio voice log.
Audio voice log. It's like,
"Hello.
With my last drink before I die of poison, because I'm being poisoned, by the way. Don't drink the tea. It's literally chockers with poison."
Yeah.
I'm being poisoned. They're gonna murder me because they just wanted my money. So if you hear this, get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
I think she tries to get out, doesn't she? But at that point, the snow has gotten incredibly bad.
The storm has got really bad, and then she has a look up, and there's a ghost floating across the balcony. And it says, "Oh, what do you want me to see?" And she goes, "Bloody in there." And down in a room full of moths, Tom and Lucille.
Okay, that's what you remember.
Tom and Lucille are going at it. They're going at it. She gasps, and as I walk back, Lucille catches up with her at the precarious top of the stairs and goes, "Oh, you grossos having sex. Like, I knew you weren't really his sister." And she goes, "Psych." She goes, "Psych, I am his sister." And she goes, "Oh."
Yeah.
And says, "Incest!" pushes her over there.
Unlimited incest.
And she definitely falls to her death, but she lands in a lovely pile of snow.
I mean, I'm also, not so worried about the snow.
It's on a bed of clay, isn't it, as well? So it's so soft.
Yeah, on the red velvet cake.
She bounces back to her feet.
To be fair, though, it's less about the landing on the red velvet cake and a load of snow. I would think it was smashing through that balcony halfway down that would have done for it.
Yeah, tailbone's gone. Or like a lower back, yeah. I think she just wakes up again and they're making him more tea, right?
Yeah, well...
Oh, the Captain...
The doctor arrives at the same time,
so
he's like... There's a bit earlier where he like goes, "Oh, can I have one of these horses to go to come? Where are they? Cumberland, no,
up at Crimson Peak." And at some point along this as well, this is when Edith has realised it's Crimson Peak because it's called, it's got a normal house name.
Allerdale Hall.
Allerdale Hall. So no, Allerdale Hall. And then after she's starting to get suspicious already.
Crimson Peak.
That's when Tom Hiddleston goes, "Oh, soon you'll see why they call this place Crimson Peak." And she's
for fuck's sake. Not only is it shite, but it's also Crimson Peak, which I've been warned about by my
dead mom ghost.
Mom.
My licorice mom.
Licorice whip.
But yeah, the doctor has arrived, and the doctor's arrived. But she's already been feeding her like tea. She goes, "Oh, do you want some tea?" She goes, "No, I don't want the tea. I know it's poison." "Well, I mean, I just don't want any tea." And she goes, "Oh, fine, have the porridge then." Tom Hiddleston's kind of in says like, "Never ever drink that tea." She's gone on to almond milk, and I'm not convinced.
Yeah. So when has the reveal kind of happened, which was when Edith was sort of putting all the evidence together, wasn't it? So they've been engaging in like a marriage and murder scheme, you would call it. That's not like a scheme you can...
Yeah, we had like a flashback. You've been denied money in Paris, Milan, Edinburgh.
It's like a help to buy scheme, but slightly less. It's slightly more frowned upon.
Help to die scheme.
Help to die scheme.
I mean, in many ways, is mad Lucille and, I guess deceptive Tom responsible for this? Or if banks weren't so unwilling to lend people money, none of this would have happened. If he's gone to the bank and they've gone, "Yeah, sure is a loan."
Yeah, but they would have gone, "You've just got a little toy here that's far too small to get red velvet cake out of a mountain."
I've got a house as well. It's absolutely fucked, but it's nice.
Yeah, unless he did an impressive dance during the bank loan meeting.
No, definitely didn't happen.
Yeah.
So obviously Dr. Allen knows pretty much this is what happens, and he tells Edith that
by the way, Dr. Allen, what is he playing at? Like, you don't say all the lay out all of your cards. So you two are brother and sister, you've been shagging it off, he's been getting married or whatever, and he tells him everything that's gone wrong, and he goes, "I'm just gonna walk by you without defending myself in any way."
It's snowing as well outside, and
Edith's
got a broken leg.
Secretly.
Neither of them got a coat on.
Yeah.
He abandons it because at first it feels like it's going to be secret. He goes, "Oh, I need to talk to my patient. I need to see my patient. If you could excuse us." Then the guy goes, "Oh, psst, I know that they're wrong-uns. I know that they're wrong-uns. Can you prove you can stand up and we'll go?" And then, like you say, he then immediately abandons it when they say, "Oh, don't go. She's too poorly to go. She just needs a load of tea."
It doesn't even cover his armpits. right at that pinnacle point.
That's the second armpit stabbing we've seen in a while. There was a armpit stabbing in Halloween Kills.
Yeah, it's just made me really wary about armpit stabbings because I mean it does seem
softest
quite
part
tender.
of you. That's where your arm is thinnest.
Ow.
Ticklish. Very ticklish.
Ow!
Yeah.
Ow!
Oh, stop it.
I mean, so did she grab his arm and lift it up? How did she get into the armpit?
Yeah,
I think he's got his arm up around.
As champion.
I win.
Yeah, basically he's confronted them with all the evidence. He's gone, right, you two are brothers and sisters. You're doing murdering schemes and I'm not standing for it anymore. And he's like, suck it. And while he's doing that, she stabs him under the arm.
I just feel like
something
he
really
knows they're violent murderers. Why is he not being a bit more careful about it?
I guess he's keeping his mouth closed to make sure they don't slip any porridge or tea in there.
Yeah, but he knows that
never thought about
Chris Captain Carter's skull with a sink.
He's not near. It's not in a bathroom though, so he thinks that's safe.
No porridge, no tea, no sinks.
There's something that's really tragic about somebody coming all that way to save someone and then immediately getting fucked up. Like
he's going to get a terrible impression.
I was about to say it's like The Shining guy, isn't it? Where he runs across the country from his holiday in Florida all the way up and he gets axed 2 steps into the door.
Literally walks in and goes,
"Honey, I'm hot."
Hack! Fucking hell! That Shining didn't help me then, did it? Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been stabbed, and at this point, this is where I don't think that Tom has been involved in doing people dirty, but he's not been a murderer at this point. She just goes, "Oh, so are you going to get your hand? It's time for you to get your hands dirty." Then gives him the knife, and he kind of goes up and he pulls a bit. He's the one character that can occasionally pull a deception on this one occasion. And he's like, "Well, come on, let's not make this harder than it is. You're a doctor. Tell me where to stab you." I'm implying to Lucille that I'm finding out where to stab you till you die.
Up the arse. He just leads it up the arse, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh!
I mean, it's a good job that Charlie Hunnam gets some idea, because if he'd just gone, just chop my finger, and he'd gone because I'm dying, I'm dying. But he does accept the stab.
Just tell me where to stab you. Just pretend. No,
just hold it loosely in your hand so it goes into your hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would have been good. He's done that before, and Mr. Andy Conduit Turner has done that before.
He could have just made stabbing sounds. He could have just had his back to Lucille and gone, stab.
Wait, so
stabbing noise.
He leaves him out there, or how does Charlie Hunnam get into
in a scene change? Tom Hiddleston's taken him down into the basement already. Probably going, "Oh well, that's him stabbed. I better go and put him downstairs."
Better go and put him in a ball of goo.
Yeah, because they use those vats to store corpses, right? Is that why all the corpses are flavored that way?
It definitely looks like it. Yeah, I'd say so.
Because there's the baby corpse bubbled up.
It's
to the
also red. Oh yeah, and the baby was. That's discussed in a minute about the. And you killed the baby. So that was my baby, but it was wrong.
Don't kill the babies, for God's sake.
So yeah, he makes an excuse and takes him downstairs and goes, "Right, I'm going to go and save the day, because if she signs the rest of her money away after that, Lucille will just murk her."
Yeah. So around this point, Lucille is burning her book, her manuscript, which is the equivalent of giving her a 1-star review on Amazon.
Yeah. That's the final insult to injury. Because say you wanted to be an author, absolute bollocks.
We also revealed that Lucille did the head smashing in the bathroom.
Yeah,
and she's just sign the document, because as soon as you do that, we can get this all over with. I'd be like, well, no, then.
No, I'm like, if you're going to murder me, I'm going to absolutely fuck you over.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've forgotten how to write. Oh no.
Or sign it, but sign it like Mickey Mouse or.
No, you've got to say get wrecked. Just sign it. Get wrecked.
Get wrecked. Get wrecked. Lucille is a murderer. IDST. Yeah. She's like, oh fuck, can't undo that now.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Tipex back then.
No. But because she's she likes her writing so much she can't help but write in the perfect squiggly writing. But she does keep the pen and she does some squiggly writing right on Lucille's heart, or she tries to get in there.
Yeah, she gets it and goes, right, your lung, mate, punctured.
Yeah.
There are a lot of like horrible little stabs in this where you're a bit like, where you feel them, where you're like, oh,
yeah, there's one in a minute.
Painful.
Whereas,
that's the worst of all the stabs.
Yeah, God.
So Lucille, Mia Wasikowski runs away. Tom Hiddleston turns up and she's like, oh, it's you. You tried to kill me. And he goes, yes, I did. You tried to steal my money. Yes, I did. And then he goes, but I love you. And then she goes, oh, okay. Cool.
But I love you. I'll never forget the post office, Shag. All right.
Yeah,
I never will.
It was a 3-strike system. So
still got stamps on the bum.
Bad. But...
stamps on his bum, second class.
But you do love me, so that one is a pass. So we're all right. Yeah. And he goes, right, I'm going to get those papers. You wait here rather than going down in the lift.
Yeah. He burns papers and Lucille's like, what's the crack here? And then she says bluntly, you told me you'd never fall in love with them or something like that. And then he says, but I have. And then she instantly stabs him in the chest. I don't think she gets around to the armpit. I think she misses. Accidentally goes
twice, like one in each shoulder, and then once in the face, which is the worst one of all.
Yeah, because he has to pull it out himself, and you can almost feel the grating against the bone, like where it's stuck in there, and it's trying to pull it out.
And he's getting a wampy eye from being stabbed in the face.
It's really nice actually, because at the end, she's like really apologetic, and she's like hugging him, and then he like cries like a single scarlet tear, and then he sort of passes away.
Yeah, it's a bit like that though. It's brothers and sisters, isn't it? Like if you're fighting with a sibling and you hurt each other, like, oh no, you're all right, you're all right, you're all right.
Don't tell mum.
You're all right. Yeah. Don't tell mum. Oh, you're dead. Oh, they're dead. Oh, fuck. What am I gonna do?
It all comes good when you've actually you fight, but when you've actually seriously hurt one another, then it's like it's okay, you're all right.
Yeah. So okay, and then by this point, Lucille's completely off the rocker, and she's like screaming and chasing Mia through the house, through the lift, and also there's a bit where there's a bit of like a Jackie Chan action where Lucille sticks a hand through the thing, and Mia like closes the gate on her arm. I just keep slamming it, just like break it, just keep going.
Yeah, while her arm is stuck in there, stab her up with your knife.
Yeah, get her stabbed up. But she lets her go. She goes downstairs.
Get stabbed up.
And then they're hiding behind some of the vats. There's a knife. Oh, and also Lucille like has hidden her giant cleaver knife because she keeps trophies. Like she has like little tufts of hair in a drawer.
Yeah, she chops a bit of a hair off and adds it to a collection of people's hair of ones that she's murdered.
Yeah.
And then she comes down and goes, oh, I kept another souvenir from when I murdered my mom that time. It's this big old cleaver. And then they have like a bit of a standoff and she uses like crazy intimidation to chase her. She hides Charlie Hunnam just round the corner so she doesn't get him. And she climbs up and they're outside in the dust and snow.
Yeah. At this point, by the way, all the snow is completely like red in the garden in the front and stuff. So what happens now? They have like a final boss battle.
Yeah, final boss battle where Lucille is like the king of stealth for some reason at this point.
Yeah,
rushing around.
It's like a Metal Gear Solid boss. It feels kind of like that.
It's like the little footprints you just did earlier.
Yeah.
In the background.
Yeah. I feel like she'd be running across like that, and then when she jumps out, it's a QTE that you've got to like fight her off with.
Yeah.
Ting, ting, ting. Huh! Shovel in the head. Smash her in the crust.
Yeah. So she's kind of got it's still a standoff, and Lucille is like, you know what? I'm never going to stop trying to stab you. So either you're going to kill me or I'm going to kill you. Edith's like, oh, help us out, will you? She goes, oh, there's no one to help you. well, there is. Look behind you, and it's poor old meringue Tom Hiddleston. He's eating mess.
Yeah. I like that bit because he has that. I mean, this is very much a Del Toro style with ghosts, where he has like where people have been stabbed or bashed their heads, like the blood kind of floats up like ink in water, like spilling upwards.
And he kind of looks. He's quite pale, but he's also got little caramel.
Little caramel eyes.
Yeah.
Caramel eyes and other terrifying little bits. Here he is.
Yeah, just ran over a wire with my chair, so I having to just save that.
And so Edith kills. So he's basically a distraction, isn't he? Old.
Yeah. Then she bonks her on the head.
And then she dies.
Right on the head.
Cuts to the next morning. She's been shining, in the maze, which is frozen.
Yeah. 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 She bonks her on the head.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. She sort of mutters again with her head slightly caved in, saying, sorry, if you kill me, I goes, yeah, no, I heard you the first time. Smashes her head in again.
Yeah. Credits roll. So crane shot pulls out like a themed rap, plays over the top, and Mia's like puts her sunglasses on and looks out to the sunrise.
LL Cool J comes on. Charlie Hunnam comes out, and and it turns out that the villagers who were going to come after the storm finished, they've just arrived, just in time.
Yeah.
Just in time.
Give them all a lift home, and then we end with the monologue from Edith once again, saying, "Yeah, blooming told you ghosts are real, didn't I?" And some of them are people type ghosts, some of them are place type ghosts, and some of the ones that are based on memories, they hang around forever. And there's Lucille playing the piano, forevermore.
Forevermore. Okay, so I have some name game for you if you're ready.
Aye.
First one is about Mia Wasikowski sneakily eats little plates of Chinese dumplings and other snacks when nobody's looking.
Something sneak.
Something sneak, yeah.
Yeah, it's like sort of like a Chinese dish. I think maybe people have it for like lunch.
Dim sum sneak.
Dim sum sneak. Yeah.
Yeah.
This next one is about Tom Hiddleston, he gets swimming lessons, but he's taught by a Grecian swim teacher.
Something Greek.
So he gets swimming lessons, and he's taught by a Grecian swim teacher.
Swim
Tom Greek.
Close.
Swim.
Swim coach Greek.
Swim coach Greek. Swim teach Greek.
Well, I mean, you pretty much said swims in Greek.
Swims in.
This next one is Crimson. It's a Crimson Peak movie, but it's been re-edited. It's basically the David Lynch cut, and it now includes. He hasn't done much to it, but it now includes the Agent Dale Cooper. So it's Crimson Peak movie that's been re-edited, slightly changed.
Twins and Peaks.
No, that's good though.
Crimson Peaks.
It's just made a slight adjustment to the film.
Crimson Tweak.
Close. I mean, you're pretty much there.
Twins and
Tweak. Twins and Tweak.
Well, I went with Lynch and Tweak.
Lynch and Tweak.
It's confusing because you've gone with David Lynch, but literally none of that answer's got Twin Peaks in it.
Yeah, it's just a Lynch and Tweak.
It's a Lynch and Tweak.
Bloody hell, you're a better man than me.
Okay, so next one, you should get this one. It's a bit easier. So there's a priest who turns into a mouse.
I mean, you should get this one, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. And he leads a Sunday ceremony, singing some delightful songs about God. So it's a mouse singing.
Sermon squeak.
Yeah, most of the way there.
So did you say sermon squeak?
Yeah.
Sermon squeak.
Sing song squeak. You ever hear of a sing song at church?
So he sings songs about God.
Hymns Squeak.
Hymns and Squeak.
Hymns in Squeak.
Hymns and Squeak.
I like it. He said you should get this because it's bloody easy. All right, you never not get this.
All right, this
You'll
next
have a
one
mouth.
you'll get so quickly. Just so it's Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And he goes around wearing fashionable gowns.
Jim's fashionable gowns.
Well, any kind of fashionable clothes. It's on fashion.
Oh, so Jim's on fleek.
Oh, I put Jim's on chic. But I think
Jim's on fleek is definitely works as well.
Yeah.
Jim's on fleek. Very good.
Well done, 5 out of 5.
Would you like one, Luke? Just off the cuff.
Sure.
So, in this completely unrelated film, Pierce Brosnan encounters a volcano. It's dead dangerous.
It's Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak, correct.
Oh, very good.
That's good. It's good. Cool.
I've got one. I've not got one. No, I haven't.
Nothing off the top of the dome, then?
No, I don't think so.
Oh well.
No.
If you've got one at home, listeners, send it in.
Right, I'm in. Get on the socials.
Yeah.
Get on the socials. As you've learned, as more torturous, the better.
So
torturous.
We need to rate the movie. I wonder what you guys are going to go for. I am going to rate it blank.
Rate good or rate bad?
Rate good or rate bad. I'm going to give a solid B. I like it. It's not amazing. It's not quite original. I don't know. It doesn't quite have the bits that would blow me away. Ben's making some faces, which is really putting me off. But yeah. It's good. It's a solid movie. No, I like the faces. Solid faces. A for faces, B for movie.
A for faces, B for movie. You see, with Ben, I'm gonna throw a bit of a predict. Like when I was watching this, Ben, I was thinking of your reaction to it. I thought, is this gonna have a bit of the Bly Manor about it for you, where you feel it's a bit toothless, and he's going to come in here and say, "Oh, I really like it. People are proper murdered." D minus. Yeah.
People do get proper murdered though. Armpit stab, face stab. That's good. I don't know. Were you gonna rate it then, Andy, or are you waiting for me?
I can go if you like, Ben, unless you're ready. Are you still mulling it over? Is that your face?
Well, yeah, I think so. So I thought I really liked this film, right? So if somebody said to me before, Crimson Peak, I would say, oh, it's amazing. Great gothic sort of romance, great visuals and stuff. I don't know. I found this time it took me a while to get into that feeling of, oh yeah, Crimson Peak, I remember this. I don't know. Especially like the first half an hour or something. I was a bit, I don't remember any of this. And I mean, I like it in terms of like atmosphere. Tom Hiddleston's great. Mia Wasikowska's great as well. Jessica Chastain, not so much. I was frustrated by her character and the place of her character. I think like it could have gone in so many other ways for me to really truly appreciate it. But that being said, visually it's great. The ghosties are great. I do like the sort of finale as well with the stabs and the Metal Gear Solid boss battle at the end. Is good. Maybe perhaps a bit toothless in terms of like the ghosty story bits at times, and Edith waking up after having some level of scare to be fed some tea was kind of ridiculous.
I don't want any tea. All right, then have the porridge. This isn't poison. Well, no ghosts warn me about the porridge, so down the hatch, I guess.
Down the hatch, delicious. I'd still go for it. I think perhaps before I thought it was like a B+ film for me. After this rewatch, which is the only time I've seen it since the cinema, I'd probably go for a B- this time around.
Oh, B- from Ben.
Classic horror hangout B-, ready, salted, vanilla, basic, straight down the middle.
Yeah, good, but not breaking your world apart. No. I'm probably with Luke on this one. I think I'm going to go for a B. I liked it. I think aesthetically it's really compelling. I like the licorice ghosts. They look terrifying, and it's nice that like ghosts, even positive ghosts, are going to give you a right old spooking. It really helps drive that narrative along. Not without its flaws. As I say, I think Jessica Chastain's character, Lucille, could have been done in a way where her motives were not as quickly revealed. I think they could have had a little bit of a lighter touch on that one. But it was still very effective. I like the mystery elements. I like the haunting elements. And the action bits when they come, it's fairly frantic. I found myself cringing as I saw the stabs come in. Not getting a B+ though, because I'm pretty sure Lucille just dispatches that poor little dog at some point as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just grabs him and he has a little squeak. Yeah. So
Crimson Squeak.
I'm never going to condone that kind of thing. You stab people in your movies all you like, but just don't injure animals. So
Crimson Squeak, and then I thought one I could have done. Jabbed in cheek.
Jabbed in cheek. That's what happens to him
with a knife.
Very good.
Yeah.
So that's that from me. A B. I don't think it's going to be one that ever makes onto a regular rotation, but
no.
If I was sitting down one day, turn on ITV3 and it happens to be on, sit and watch this for an advert break or two.
Yeah, it's worth an advert break or two. It's definitely not Guillermo del Toro's best.
No,
but I don't. Is it his worst? I'm trying to think. I can't think of many.
I guess it totally depends on if the madness of what's her name's Pacific Rim is exactly your cup of tea or something.
I like that. Yeah.
If you like Del Toro for his gothic horror, then you probably won't. Well, you might like Pacific Rim Job.
Yeah, I think you could go
Rim Job.
See, if this was the movie of the day, you'd have name game entries for days.
Yeah,
can't help it. Yeah, there we go.
So
nice.
So we are.
Thanks for listening. Next week, I think we're doing Ghostbusters Afterlife. You have to wait for next week to hear that. So
be patient. God.
Be patient. Jesus Christ. If you enjoyed this episode, you can become a patron and you'll get early access to episodes normally. I mean, this week was a little bit delayed because we did the convention and we were a little bit behind.
Also tired. Yeah, we tried so hard to actually watch the film all together, right? But turns out that after you get up early, spend a 9-hour day talking to members of the public and trying to sell books, you're real tired.
Yeah.
All you want to watch is Impractical Jokers, it seems, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No time for films.
Made the mistake of being having like a beer and a half as well. I was so knackered.
Yeah, same.
It was a big beer though, wasn't it?
It was a big bottle, but
and lots of food as well. Eat loads of food and drink a big bottle of beer and like just KO.
Ready for bed.
Yeah.
Night.
Okay, so thanks to the patrons we currently have. John Crinnan, Against His Will. If you're curious about John Crinnan, he had I think it was like a ramen dish at the restaurant and he shared his dessert. He's that kind of guy. Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, don't know what kind of food these guys eat generally. Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Scott Rigby, and Pazuzu, who I know likes to dine on the souls of the innocent. Thanks to Kovac Camera for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to you, the listeners. If you enjoyed the show, consider rating and reviewing, or go to the Facebook group, Horror Hangout Board of Advisors. And thanks to my co-hosts, Ben and Andy, for being right horror dudes.
Thanks, Luke, and to you as well.
Thank you, guys. Until next week.
See you next time for some ghost busting. Does it still make us feel good? Let's find out.
Bloody hope so.
Laters. Bye.
Bye. Bye.